So here, I think if one of those got something like that. When was that article? I don't want to. I've got a lot of power based on the
Everybody's good. You ain't got me on film. Don't put me on no film yet.
You better be good or we're all falling asleep.
I know it. I'm done, y'all. I'm done.
Yeah, don't feed us full of cheesecake.
Carb coma. Keep it lively.
Alright, I'm gonna facilitate and lead a discussion, not Greg talk for just for another hour. But seriously, all I wanted to do for this last little bit is to kind of wind down today, is kind of recap today, and really now that y'all have heard your all's discussions on those birds of a feather session from this morning, and as you have thought about it, as you toured a wonderful afternoon and rolled around in the woods, all that stuff, you're all ready to give a verbatim opinion on what you saw today. But yeah, this is just kind of an open discussion time. I'll just kind of throw out the topics. I'll just go through the list the way they were submitted, or the way we listed them here. And if somebody from that group will just kind of either give a synopsis on what y'all talked about, or if y'all want to just kind of recap, or if you want to just say, yeah, we're good, we don't need to say nothing, we'll go through them. But we'll just kind of move through these pretty quick, and we'll just get out of here when we get out of here. So, well, the first one was instructional design procedures and policies. How did that one go? Anybody?
Well, I felt like he had mental notes on that, so.
All right, Keith, the bus has been officially brought out of the garage.
Just the same when I take notes on Paul's technique.
Guess who's almost to retirement? The closer she gets to retirement, the braver she gets it out of it.
That was good. We had a good discussion on some of what we're doing as far as course reviews and how we get faculty to do it. Sometimes that's the biggest key, is not just what's in place, but how you use them.
Do you find with the faculty that it's more time? They don't. This is just that they don't see. Is it that we're not selling it to them the right way to where they believe in it, or is it just they just don't have time to understand, or a mixture of both? I don't.
I think it's a little bit of both. Comments that were made, that kind of seems.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like a lot of times the ones that will commit to it, once they commit to it, they're the ones that keep coming back. So if you can get them in the door, you got them. It's just hard getting anybody in the door.
Our problem with the faculty is usually we'll get them sold on something and then they'll change it. So it's like they're yanking the carpet out. I mean, we don't control what they do. We just help them implement whatever that group has decided to do. And so what'll happen is we'll get them, 90% of the way implemented, or they put an investment into that, and all of a sudden they'll say, well, we're not funding this anymore, this piece of technology anymore. And they're left with all this content that they created, and there's nothing, they don't have anything to deal with it. So we get a little resistance on that, which I can understand. Alright. Any more? Topic closed? Everybody satisfied? Lecture capture tools. I'm interested on this one.
I felt like Al, no.
I love Paul. Who's Al? That's our coming. Al? Where's
It
Al?
seems like quite a few of us have moved to Zoom, and everybody seems to have really good positive things to say about it.
About doing it or about wanting to do it?
Zoom, yeah.
Oh, Zoom. Yeah.
Zoom is what quite a few of us.
Gotcha. Okay. That's it with an X, right?
C-O-O.
Or no, just Z?
Z-O-O.
Zoom.us.
Alright. So that's kind of the synopsis on that one. Any other, just that was where we wound up? Okay. Idle implementation, I can say a little bit about it. I was in that group. We talked about it, we know what it is. Decided, we came to a consensus that we know how to spell it, we know what it is, we know what it's supposed to do. Where we all kind of looking at it for different reasons, we're at different phases and different plans on that. Does everybody know what it is?
I discovered that reading the documentation and definitions and stuff on that is a really good cure for insomnia.
Yes, it is. I would agree. It was written probably by the same people who put out
People
the.
are going, no, it's not.
So what I found, when I mentioned this in our group, when we talked briefly about it, which our group has anybody doing this? No, not really. So we kind of moved on. What I found, so for us, our executive director for a long time seemed to be allergic to the word idle, because with the idea that we're not big enough for it to be that important.
Right.
And so over the years, I have slowly, surreptitiously been implementing idle processes without telling anybody that it's idle. And I think that's probably what most of you are going to find yourselves
Right.
is there.
It's not an all or nothing kind of thing. You can take principles from it and make it fit what you need to do without being officially idle. Yeah.
We would be in a meeting, we would say, what are you supposed to do? And they would say, it's not prescriptive. We go, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
Just do it, tell us you did it.
Some of what we talked about with idle was we were looking at idle as a way to join things together. Like if we had multiple processes within, like it was suggested, there were multiple help desks that were the same help desks were doing multiple things. They were doing the same thing, but from different systems they were getting the request. So using idle to kind of structure that in a way to where there was no losers and no winners, it was just a new way to do it. I believe that idle is a good approach to doing those things, but I do feel like it is overkill for a lot of us on trying to implement the whole thing. I think we did discuss that we would only do specific modules out of that. Is that fair to say? We would only do like a service module or this, and then see how things go. It's one of those things where you're looking for something better in anything that you do, and idle is just the way to approach it. And so that's kind of where we took it from. Again, I don't think any of us are ready to, drive it down anybody's throat. It's definitely not one of those things where, the Church of Christ schools are going to follow the seal of approval for the Idle Foundation standards, and, we must all be certified before the end of 2019. So I'm not looking to see it on SACS or anything like that. So, but I think it's a good guide to follow. I think it approaches things from a standpoint that wants to achieve consistency, and it wants to be fair, and it wants to do things objectively, I guess is a good way to say it. And that helps everybody. When you can be consistent in what you do and have a process for it, it's about, I tell my folks a lot, it's about setting the right expectations for people. If you leave people to set their own expectations, you'll never get it right. Because they'll always come back with something weird out of the box, and then you won't be, you'll have to rise to that expectation. You'll fail every time. But if you can define things in such a way and have it out there so people know exactly what to expect when they come to your office, then you can meet that. And there's no reason why they can't be satisfied by the work you need to do. So that's really at the heart of what IDLE tries to do, at least from my opinion. There's other things you can use it for, but for me it's about making sure your users are really clear on understanding what you can and can't do for them. So anyway, we kind of beat that one to death. Change in problem management. All right, y'all want to say anything more about that, or did I totally get us out of that one? Okay, next one, y'all. Okay. Change in problem management. This was again one of ours. It was very much really kind of talked about these two together because IDLE, one of the modules in IDLE actually deals with handling change in problem management. When people, again, it comes back to how do you manage those projects? How do you deal with this? You should have a structure and a framework that somebody is wanting and requesting something from you that they can look at and say, okay, well, these are the requirements that I have to fill out in order for IT to take the ball and run with it, or facilities, or whoever needs it to take that ball and run with it. If you leave it wide open for somebody to just come to you and say, I want a football field in the backyard, you know, you gotta argue with them and convince them what they gotta do to get that football field to make up. But if you can say, well, you need to fill out this paperwork, which tells you exactly how much you need to go measure, you know, you gotta get this grass, and you gotta, you know, and you give them that work to do, then they kinda start to see what you need to actually implement what they're trying to do. So that goes kinda hand in hand with IDLE.
I did have a question on that.
Okay.
So I was actually wondering, I'm the culprit who added all those random things.
That's okay, yeah.
I'll admit it.
It was really a good discussion for us, it was great.
So I'm curious if other folks have any kind of formalized change management process. So, you know, we need to upgrade the server, or we're launching this new service. What are your processes for that change? And does it need to differentiate between like change and release in any way? I'm curious if anybody's doing any of that.
No, but we're gonna.
Well, in the meeting that we were in, when we talked about change management, one of the situations was working with other departments in that change management. And a couple of years back, we did our CFO basically got us together and said, you guys are gonna go work on this together. And so sent us to a technology company, and we trained in Agile. And so the middle managers meet every other week, and we go through things that if we need to do any kind of changes or any process improvements, then what we do is we kind of outline what we're going to do, go through that, break them into smaller things, and then kind of push them through the Agile process as best we can. We don't stick to it completely. There are still, you know, stronger voices at times than others, but we really try to make sure that when we do the change, how it affects each department and what they need to be prepared for. So kind of do a structure of such, and then, you know, minimize the projects down to achievable things.
Is anybody doing any kind of change action board or approval workflows for the changes?
We're using Trello.
Okay, as a kind of
Yeah.
project management kind of, right.
It's an effort to be much more visible. Just be like, the project's in this phase, that means they like go and see it. You can actually show like when this part was completed, and it gives a sense of momentum instead of just, it'll be done in 3 weeks. Well, that's like dead in the water for everybody else to know. So we've implemented it with even just all of our, I mean, I have one, Eric has one, we have one for the department, you know, a couple other employees we have a Trello board, and it's just a big invisible way of what's John working on? Well, click on his Trello board to see what's going on, or what he's closed today. It's all moved over.
Ours is real easy, people submit changes and I say no. That's kind of, that's it. I mean, there's we don't have a good way, we don't. We usually find that when people are ready to make changes, we're the last one to the table. And so what winds up happening is it's very reactive for us. We usually wind up getting to the table when everybody else has decided what we're gonna do, and then we have to figure out how we're gonna get it done in an impossible situation. And so they don't care about the change. They've already decided it's gonna happen. It's just when we can get it done is really where it's at. So we're working on that, but it's just, you know, it's kind of like what I was talking about this morning. Now that IT kind of had those services are kind of commodity based, and people can, you know, everybody's an expert. They know what it takes to get things done, but then they forget about things like FERPA and HIPAA and all these other things that they have to consider when they go buy this from Walmart and stick it on the shelf. You know, they don't get it, and so they have to learn, you know, a lot. And so we're kind of going through that phase with some of our folks. But it is, I mean, it's one of those things, you help. That's what we try to do, we help. And we help a lot. Okay, so is anybody else on that one? We change manage that one to different? Okay. Next one was self-service portals. I didn't talk about that one.
That was in the help desk.
Man. I know how to, so I appreciate
You know,
this.
really took the time. We talked about the usefulness of the, self, so, we launched our self-service portal last month, and, are trying to drive traffic there, create a ticket, search knowledge, that kind of thing. I think, several other folks were using some sort of self-service portal, in some fashion. I don't know, it's an interesting discussion.
Let me ask this question, do you use self-service portals to supplement your help desk functions, or are you, I mean, is that what you're talking about, is that kind of?
So, our self-service portal is, you can create a ticket, you can check the status of your tickets, you can update your tickets, but it's also, a knowledge base where you can search knowledge base. We also have, you can browse our service catalog, and submit tickets from a search point of the service catalog. So I can go into my service catalog and say, I want to request a printer, and that printer request form will have all of the information I need to buy a printer from you, kind of like we were talking about. And then, it routes it to the correct group, so it bypasses the help desk completely. And I'll be perfectly honest, one of my personal goals, is, so I hate email support. We provide email support because it is the least efficient form of communication you can possibly imagine. And so one of my, not so secret goals is in the next couple of years to completely eliminate email support and replace it with self-service, where I can more appropriately, now, even on a generic request, I can say, hey, I need a phone number, or is this about an ACO computer? If yes, what's that asset number? And so I can get information that I wouldn't gather from someone just saying, hey, my computer's broke, come fix it.
By the way, there's kind of an interesting, two different things that are important, that are butting heads against each other. As long as we're known by our customers, there's still gonna be some of that backdoor stuff where they email directly to you, call directly to you. And from what he was just talking about, where we don't get included in the planning portion soon enough, you want to cultivate and develop those.
Yeah.
You don't wanna be the invisible entity that you don't wanna cut yourself off from the communication with your customers. Or else you'll never get included early on in the thing. So somewhere there's gotta be a way to blend those two things together.
So one of the things that we started doing, so as an example, I have, one of our AV techs, constantly would get emails about digital signs around campus that need fixing for this or that or the other thing. And so what I did is I created a service in Team Dynamics for digital sign repair. And it has a form that they can fill out, and that form routes it directly to him. And so when somebody emails him and says, hey, I'm having a problem, he says, that's great, I'd love to take a look at it, please fill out this form. And it still establishes that communication where it's to the customer, but the customer is then required to provide the information that, and it is easier to do in a form as opposed to say, okay, tell me what sign is it, where is it, what's going on, and all of those things that are established in that form, and it automatically generates a ticket, so we're tracking that conversation, tracking that work in a way that can be reported.
Yeah, what you're talking about, directly related to the two things, service management, change management. Two separate entities that have to be kind of established.
Let me ask this question, sort of changing the subject, but related. How many of you provide support after hours? Or is it the self-service way? I mean, that's, I mean, do you have people staffed to answer phone calls after, when you're at the end of the day?
2 hours.
No, but we do have, emergency pager support, so.
Right.
Everything from a door won't lock after hours, that goes to a manager on call.
Right.
To sort of, power down.
Let me ask you this question. So things that would be self-service, are you looking at self-service to be that after-hour support for the majority of the calls that you would get instead of the emergency things? I mean, is that what we're looking to do with it?
I'll be honest, I'm looking for self-service to be that level of support, whether it's after hours or not.
Right.
Where, in an ideal world, a large portion of those calls can be routed to a zero level support through that self-service portal. So what we're doing is we generated a base of knowledge, that we've kicked off our portal with, and then as people call us for things, is this in the portal, is this something that is answerable online, or do we need to take action? If it's just a question there's an answer to, then I can put that, create a knowledge base article, and eventually start routing people there, so I have to spend less resources on my phones.
Does that actually work?
And that's a great question, ask me a year from now.
Yeah, I think some of it has to do with personality and maybe the age group of the people you're supporting. Some people would rather talk to a live person, and some people would rather go through the workflow, try and solve it themselves, and then submit a ticket. And so it's nice to be able to offer both.
Yeah, I was gonna say something similar, that is, I think we're jumping on the same system, Team Dynamics, to handle that. And, we're starting slow, and we're just gonna kinda ease our way into that. And I think by the time it's kicking, rock and roll and ready to go, the younger generations that are coming through school are gonna be the kids that are naturally gonna go Google a fix. And those are the type of people that are gonna really benefit from self-service.
Kind of like I can tell some people around New York, if I am doing my job well, my phone's not ringing very much. But if my phone's not ringing very much, I'm not talking to people, I can't do my job very well.
Well, and the other piece that we're dealing with Team Dynamics, or with our self-service rollout, is we rolled it out initially as an IT tool. Just last week, I was in a meeting with our travel office to convert their documentation to our service portal knowledge base articles. And we're branding it as a support portal, not necessarily an IT support portal. And so one of my other visions is that eventually that self-service portal is not just an IT self-service portal, but I can go there to find information from HR, from facilities, from travel, from student affairs, all of those kind of things.
One of the things that I worry about in doing self-service things is one of the biggest things that we do to make the biggest impact on our surveys for the student satisfaction stuff, which we don't take very many anymore, but just when we drive student satisfaction down, make things better on campus, the things that we have done to make things better, we're a direct relation to the #1 help desk calls that we've got for that year. In other words, we go back and look at why the students are calling, why are they calling us so much, why are they doing all this stuff, and we use that data like printing. Printing for us was the #1 call, and so we actively looked for a better printing solution, found it, and that we saw that impact on the help desk, and so then we were able to look at the next one, the next one, the next one. I worry that if we do self-service stuff, a lot of it, that we'll have problems out there that we may never know about.
And so I think it depends on your tools. One of the things that I can do in this tool is identify what are people looking at before.
Yeah, that's what that was really where I was going with. Is there any kind of analytics in that stuff
Yeah,
that tells you what the button? Okay, that would be good. Oh, cool.
You know, I found that a mix of those two things works really well for us. We have all that documentation out there and it's ready to go. And I can have a conversation with someone, I can say, I have some documentation about this, it's got pictures, step by step, ready to go. Can I email that out to you, or would you rather step through it over the phone? And a lot of people say, email it to me and I'll do it and call you if I have any trouble. Some people say, I really would like for you to step through it for me. So I feel like those two in conjunction is for us has been a great way. And then even if I step through it with them over the phone after I'm done, I send them that, I write back in the ticket and I include the link to those instructions, so hopefully next time when it happens again, because we all know it happens again, they're like, oh yeah, I remember, she sent me those instructions. So
I'm the same way. I am like my cell phone bill. I can't stand to do it online because it never works. Or if I got to make changes to it in any kind of way, it just never works. So I always go to the store and actually hand them my phone and say, this is what I want you to do to it, and they fix it. But when I talk to the cable company, it's the exact opposite. I just wanna get on there and make it, it's super simple and simple. So I think, I agree completely. You know, I think there are situations where you want that person just to deal with it because you've reached that frustration point, or it may just be your personality or whatever. But yeah, I agree. Well, all right, well, do we beat that one to death? Anybody else think? I'm gonna go with my glasses. All right, next one was, how are universities using their IT websites? I can tell you from Freed's standpoint, we aren't. At least IT is not. We build it, but we don't use it. Everybody else seems to use it.
We just replaced all of our IT websites with a self-service portal.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. Well, so is everybody satisfied? We didn't discuss that, or did we? Yeah, we discussed that in management.
talked about it.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit.
So, ACU's made a significant change to our public facing website last 6 months, a year. We've, like, basically, anything that's on the regular www.ac.edu is meant for the public, for prospective students, how can they get financial aid, who should they talk to, and then everything else was moved behind the subdomain, communities.ac.edu, which broke 1 million links. Yeah.
We're still fighting.
We're still fighting, but it was meant to greatly simplify what's on the public facing website. It's really about the only thing that's on the public facing website now is prospective students supported.
We have some limited stuff on that, as opposed to perspective student, but there's also parents. So there's some.
Yeah, that's
there's
kind of
parents
us.
want on it.
We're very much the same way in that it's designed for that prospective student. It's built for that student to get them here. We see it as a marketing tool first. Is that fair? I mean, that's kind of what I've been totally understand. It makes it very difficult when you want to put general information out there about the school and things like that. It makes it, you've got to fight those battles. You know, why can't the library have a button right front and center on the front page, everybody goes to the library, you know, we want to search for a book and we can't find it on the website, you know, it's those common problems. But that's the way we do it. Ultimately it comes down to we have a CMS so they can, you know, they can put what they want out there, but it's all subject to review, subject to approvals and things like that, so, it's primarily a marketing thing for us. Okay, any more on that one? Nope. Alright. Wireless AV in the classrooms, why and how?
We kind of, talked to Apple, Apple TV. It's the main one, really the only viable option right now. It's secure enough, but it's still not there yet. So we're on holding pattern.
I didn't get to be part of that meeting. We've been doing it for almost 4 years now successfully at Richmond. But it really took the input of our IT administrator, because that's the part that's broken. The Apple TV isn't meant to be enterprise level, so he had to write back in such a way that we maintain, given FERPA compliancy and a level of security, so students should not log into an Apple TV from their dorm room throughout the class. The biggest downside we had is dropping connectivity during a class. So it is not a 100% solution, but we have professors who use nothing but that, and professors who refuse to use it at all.
So, what are your big Apple TVs? Why Apple TV?
It is the only one that does not require classroom interface other than itself as a device, and it has enterprise level security that can be built into the network.
But it only, it's for somebody like half your device.
PCs, so these are fair.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so at least when you have a third party software that you have to install.
It's inexpensive, it's fairly ubiquitous.
Okay. We've been, so we have been anti-Apple TVs for a very long time, because of all of the reasons you described. We recently have been pushing in those spaces that want it. We've had success with the Kramer, VIA systems. It's an app that you have to download on your phone or your computer, but it's really easy to get, and it's really easy to use. We have, when we get requests for Apple TVs, we say, well, we'll buy you one, but we're not gonna support it.
We've tried ChromeKit, Microsoft's version, others, and none of them alleviate the problems that the Apple TV is also having. But I will also say that AirFare is the software that allows Windows to communicate with AirPlay. They have a lot of solutions, like Reflector and other apps, that are meant for educational places that will allow an auditorium full of students to one at a time stream their own devices, or have conferences be able to do that, and that's a more software solution. We haven't gone to it, but that option is there.
We actually use it in every single classroom that has a PC, which is still pretty much all of them. We use Air Server, and I have loved that. It's been great. It's if you think an Apple TV is cheap, it's $15. It supports in one software package, supports mirroring via AirPlay, so both iOS and MacBooks. It also supports Chromecast. I recommend if you're gonna, it will mirror from Android with an app.
Is it specifically Windows-based?
There's a Mac version and a Windows version, so you have to have some other hardware in the room to run it.
All we have in our classrooms now is.
But if you've got any other hardware in the room, this is easy to add to it. It even runs on Xbox.
And so the website shows PC, Mac, Xbox One, Surface Hub, and Philips TV.
Did you say, I didn't hear all those.
Sorry,
Did you say
PC?
Google at all?
No, I didn't say Google, but it does talk about Android devices and phone books and such.
Air Server, I've been very happy with it. And the nice thing about it, about some security issues, well, you don't have the instructor start it if they're not ready for that. It's programmed on the computer like any other, you run it. It's been really nice. Every classroom we have has support now from the.
If y'all have stuff that works well for y'all, let me encourage you to put links to those things when you get back to the hotel or when you get back home. I'll just say that to everybody in general. If you have things that you'd like to, like tools and that you found that works, put them on that Google Plus board for us. We look at that quite a bit, and are you gonna put the videos there too? So the videos from the sessions will be out there, and you know, I hadn't been doing it very much, but I've started looking in there quite a bit, and there's some even from way back I found stuff on there that I like. So let's put that stuff there. If that's okay with everybody, we'll just post it there, and that way we'll everybody gets the right stuff. Some of this stuff sounds a lot alike. I know we're tired, and we'll wind up getting the wrong thing and then having a bad rep or something. Wireless for us, we too have declared the Apple TV as the Antichrist around here. And we do not, our biggest problem with it wasn't getting them to work, it was getting the next guy to get it to work. I can connect the one and make it work just fine, but when that person disconnects or in most cases fails to connect, and that next teacher comes in, it's a help desk call, because they have to come and basically shut it down and get it back going. We never could get them to work reliably enough. If it was the only person in the classroom, they were great. I don't have any issues with them, but it was the, you know, we may have 8 professors in a single room during the day, and it's that interchange that seems to be what was difficult for us. So we just had to put our foot down about them. What we've been piloting this semester, we've been looking ever since for something, and this semester we put wireless projectors in from Ricoh. You can Google them, they make about 10 of them. Depends on what kind you want. You can do a little portable thing all the way up to full blown whatever, but they connect to the Ethernet, but then you can join to them wirelessly. The only thing that I don't like about them is it doesn't handle video very well. So if you're showing videos wirelessly, it's not, I wouldn't do that. I'd still cable up for that. Frame rate's just not there, or the audio's, it looks like a bad Chinese movie, you know what I'm talking about. I will kill you. You know, it's that kind of, so it's really bad.
We got that on tape.
So that's really rough. I forgot about the video. I'd be careful with my dialogues.
The play count on this video will be like, what, 40 people?
Okay, everybody will be good.
Can we paste that into?
But what's great about it is you don't have to have anything. It supports just about everything under the sun. There's a client that you can download if you want to, or you can connect to the thing direct. We got a demo of one and tried it, and I really didn't even try it. I let the faculty members try it just because they were the ones harping about it so much, and they actually were the ones who, they actually paid for it. So that's how much they liked it. So that's the only place where we put them. We put one in our conference room to try it out. So far it works okay for like I said, general static content stuff, it works great. You just walk in, use your phone, I can do PowerPoint through my phone, whatever you want to do. So I would suggest finding a rep, borrowing one. I tried to get them to come, but they had other stuff going on. But I'd look at them. I mean, like I said, it's not going to be, you can't go into it thinking it's going to be an Apple TV. An Apple TV is going to be a screen mirroring thing. And this is more of this thing excels at a presentation type thing. For the mirroring side, it uses Miracast, not Apple TV, or not AirPlay, sorry. And so it is a different protocol, so you can't really compare it to an Apple TV. That was my mistake. You really have to go into it and just let them tell you what it does, and then if you're okay with it, pursue it. If not, walk away. So that's enough for that. So we good with that? Everybody happy? Anybody else got anything? Other wireless junk you'd like to? I will admit, the faculty in that room, they hate the fact that they have to plug up to show a video. They would love for the video piece to work, because that's the only reason why they have to plug up. They try it all the time, but anyway. But we installed that stuff this summer, and I've not been up there since they learned how to use it, so it's not and I use it all the time. They've got 3 projectors in there, and they got the students connected to them, so it's a finance team. I don't know if y'all had it, but they do investments and stuff, so the students will look up stuff on their devices, get whatever handhelds they got, and they can connect to the projector to show it to the class, and then I think it's got like a 4-way split thing on the screen, so they can have 4 people connected. It's pretty cool, but anyway. But the projector's not that much. The projectors we put in there were less than $1,000 a piece. So, I think they were like $860 something, but because we bought 4 or 5 of them. So, like I said, it's just not that bad. I wish they were a little bit brighter, but you could probably get a brighter one. So like I said, for the wireless side, it seems to work for them, so far. Whatever. Distance learning integrations. I didn't have that one. Nobody had that one?
I don't think we ever got that one.
Well, anybody talk about that one?
We're for it.
We're for it. Well, does anybody have a success story about distance learning? I mean, is somebody, like doing it and want to take it to the next level, or are everybody just trying to find out what works good and we're still searching? I mean, it's that kind of, or what kind of boat are we in?
Our Memphis campus has this school of theology, and they're predominantly distance learners.
This is like a video talking head with PowerPoint, and they're trying to get that to the masses.
They use Zoom, and they've had a really good day. The students really like the experience, the interaction back and forth, the whiteboard sharing side of it.
What are you using for Zoom?
Zoom, Zoom. And they connect their phone, their tablet, and they love it. It's been fantastic for their enrollment.
I don't remember who that talked about Zoom. Is it called Zoom Classroom or whatever?
In Zoom you can do rooms, and a lot of our online graduate programs love the fact that you can bring people up into 6 different rooms and move back and forth between, and then bring everybody back together, and so it really is, it's simple.
Well, good.
It's great.
Is that the one we looked at? I hear that's pricey though. I mean, not bad, not pricey.
It's about $90 a license.
A seat?
Yeah.
Who's that?
No, that's the one Union was doing. You're thinking about the Citrix.
I was thinking about the one for James.
Yeah.
Is that who you okay.
We moved from Adobe Connection Station, so I've been running from Adobe.
Yeah, well, Adobe.
Is that session or what is it?
It's for a long.
Do they license a seat as a person or as a room?
Or either or? It's a license for a host. So you.
Oh, so you just license faculty member and you're done?
Correct.
Okay.
So about $100 a year.
We licensed about, I think we have 150 licenses for about 8,000.
Is that just kinda like a go-to-meeting client, you just hook a webcam and
Yeah.
a mic and you're done?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the learning curve on it is almost flat, that's the thing that we really like about it.
Alright, well, look, we're using GoToMeeting, but it's, you know, it's one of those things by now, everybody knows it and they're using it, but I mean, it's Cisco and therefore there's as many zeros in the price tag as the letters. So it's that kind of thing, you know, so yeah. Alright. Well, anybody else on that one? Alright. Oh, the ERP and CRM strategies, do y'all really care about that? We talked about it, but I think we were the only ones that really cared about it, and that could be a long old discussion, so I'll just say, it was a great discussion, we had a wonderful time, and we're glad we're not talking about it again. Is that fair? Alright, moving right along. Data security and data auditing, were we supposed to talk about that one? It was on security side, right? Or did we merge security? Did anybody meet in security?
Yeah.
Did y'all talk about that?
How
was that one? Was it a good discussion? There was enough said.
They'd have to kill you afterwards.
Very secure.
You can tell us what you gotta kill us in that game? Okay. I know, but seriously, did you get your concerns?
Well, yeah,
or what questions
we just
you had?
talked about
what was on the horizon.
Schools are facing basically. A couple of us are working with the Higher Learning Commission this year, and a couple are trying to work together to kind of do some preventative testing.
Gotcha.
But there might be some room there to collaborate with sister schools.
I know this one was like 1 or 2 on the IT hit list, so I'm sure we'll talk about that one more tomorrow. So let's just table that one for tomorrow. I'm at 6:30 up there. I got Chrome OS uses. I really wanted Chrome OS to work well. I think it works well for what it does. Well, before I say anything, how did the discussion go? Did y'all y'all didn't discuss it? Nobody discussed it? Well, let me tell you what I liked. I liked it. I really thought we could do stuff with it. We got a couple of Chromebooks, the new ones from Samsung, I forget what was that, the ones that do the actual Play Store apps, you know, that was kind of the big thing. And we really wanted to try to make them work around campus for people. We put them out there and people just didn't, I don't know if they were just weird, you know, and they didn't like them or what, but nobody really gravitated to it like I thought they would. Nobody really saw it as what they wanted. So this really didn't, it was just kind of sad. I think there's places for them, like we have MacBooks down here for the card catalog search system. It's a web-based thing, you know, to me a Chromebook sitting there would be an ideal thing for that, because why put a $1,500 MacBook there when you could put a $230 Chrome, you know what I'm saying? So even from a finance thing, but also, you can't screw up a Chromebook, just turn it on, turn it off, it messes up, but, yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
We have just implemented a bunch of Chrome boxes on our campus. We've replaced the Raspberry Pis using boxes for our digital signage. A lot more control than Raspberry Pi gave us without the user needing to do so much. And we replaced all 60 classroom computers with a PC for Chrome bits. And honestly, what I'm seeing, hopefully they'll turn around, but we have finally found something that is forcing our teachers to take their own computers to the classroom now, because they don't like having Chrome bits.
Gotcha.
So your method was give them something horrible. They'll take their own device.
It's working.
I love it.
Wait, is that the only one?
Speak a little louder.
I think, I know my wife's a teacher, they use Chromebooks in the classroom, and the younger generations are gonna grow up using them.
Right.
So I think we gotta be prepared for that, and start thinking about how we can use them. They're fantastic when you start getting into Chrome, the management console side of things, because now you can let hand them out at the beginning of the class, turn them all in, but then the next time the next person logs in, it's wiped clean. Nothing left on there.
Let me ask you this, have you all considered using them for labs?
We are.
We are.
I mean,
In some.
that was where I thought it might make sense, because like Adobe's forcing you to go to the cloud now. I mean, the only software we buy in the labs anymore is like a stats thing, Office, which is online, and Adobe thing. That's really our big app.
The numbers in K-12 they've grown to like 2/3.
Yeah.
2 out of every 3 schools are 2 out of every 3 K-12 students are using a Chromebook now.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I really wanted them to take off, but it was like, it just didn't, I don't know, it was almost, I was just really sad that day. I thought I'd get the golden bullet, and it just, is that right, silver bullet, whatever it was.
When you say you put them out there for people, are you talking about employees?
We just bought a couple and let people try them, and it's like one of those things, like my daughter one time, I'll tell you a story, sorry, it's a long story, but I'll be brief and give you the short 2-minute version. My wife one day was cutting tomatoes on the counter, and she was cutting. And my youngest daughter, she was probably 6 at the time, never seen a tomato in her life. The only thing she ever saw Kathy cut on the counter was a strawberry. And she ran up there and like grabbed a big old hunk of them tomatoes and shoved them in her mouth thinking they were strawberries. And you can imagine the look on her face when she found out it was a tomato. My users got a tomato instead of a strawberry. It's exactly what I think happened. You know, I think they were expecting something different. And so, since it didn't live up to what they wanted out of the box, it just.
But that's gonna flip around on you.
I agree. I think it was just not the right time.
Generation's only 4 years.
Yeah.
They didn't know how to use it, they thought they were getting
Well, that's why I think putting them in places like the library, get them out there so people can start seeing them. You know, it's just one of those things they've got to get.
But what I'm saying is, in the next few years, they will come to you, that's what they're used to.
Yeah.
You're gonna find less and less kids showing up that have ever used Microsoft Office.
Right.
Right. I think about my daughter, she has a tablet at home now, because she had to get her own. And we have computers at home, so she's used them, but I think about what it costs to buy a computer for a student, $500 plus for even a cheap one.
Right.
And that tablet, you get a good tablet now for $120. And you're gonna see her, she'll use that tablet, that's what she's used to, and she'll get out of college, and she'll look around, and she won't wanna spend $500 on a laptop. She'll want a laptop, but she won't wanna spend that, and she'll end up getting she'll live her life using a tablet probably.
Right.
And by the time she gets to college, I mean, that's what, she'll be one of those phone-only, tablet-only people.
How old is?
She's 12 now.
In our K-12, they switched from tablets to Chromebooks in high school
She
because
uses Chrome at
the
school and
the
tablets at home.
keyboard is the big deal, the
Right.
data creation.
That's what we found with our iPad program. The reason why the iPad program failed here, I think, is because it was deemed a content consumption device. It wasn't a content creation device.
We got it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, but they don't want to tote that. I mean, they might as well tote a laptop. You know, as soon as they had to start working on something, they'd rather have something that was comfortable and tote it versus to have they wouldn't take just the tablet.
What I'm seeing is, even the tablet stays in the room, but that's like the big laptop or the big desktop that you used to have. That's all you have now, is that's your big machine is the tablet now.
And they're making bigger tablets now, that's true. So before you can get a full-size keyboard.
Well, is anybody thinking about trying to get faculty to move to Chrome OS in anticipation of all these kids that are coming up through the ranks?
We had bought 2 of them for us to start using them and to, like I started kind of impromptu interviewing, asking questions, would you ever use this? And a lot of what I got was, I don't really like Google Drive, and I found that to be a stopping point here. And we don't use Office 365, so they default to using a network drive and Word and Excel. But I often ask them, I was like, well, how do you find anything in your network drive? It's so full. I can tell you because I can see it.
Yeah. Well, I think the OS challenge is coming at us, I know that, it's gonna be
For students, my only concern is their first thing is gonna be that consumption, and what I've heard a lot of is, they're hooked on iTunes, right now. Could change in the future, because I know we're shifting a bit to Spotify and some of the others, which is nice, because that's gonna be
Right.
platform independent.
Well, see, that's my kids. I got 2 kids in college now, one on the way, and none of them use iTunes. They can't stand iTunes. They're all on Spotify. They use Pandora for a while.
Yeah.
And somehow they talked me into paying for the family plan on Spotify, and I listen to my 2 songs, and they listen to all theirs. They got it down, and they do their thing, and, but they love it, and so I don't, I agree. I think it's just gonna be an app-based thing.
Just mentioned, Jim has given a couple of examples to some stuff, and just the fact that, and they come to me and say, we really love this.
What we do with them is, I get faculty who call and say, I gotta go on a trip, can I borrow, can I check out a laptop? And I say, no, but I can check you out a Chromebook, and I can show you how to remote control your office computer. And, cause I've been sitting here using both my Mac and my PC in my office, and they like that. And I was like, if you drop it, if you lose it, if you spill it, your data's all fine.
Right.
You don't have to worry which place did I save it. Did I save it on the
That might be the way to
laptop?
bridge it over.
Yeah.
So basically, we're using them as
VPN replacement.
KVM. We're using them as STEM clients, exactly.
Yeah, Chrome remote desktop and go.
It'd be nice to get the data back on that, how much, if they're hovering completely in their desktop versus using the Chromebook at all. Even just for basic web browsing and, interning on Moodle or Blackboard, whatever you're using.
Alright, well, in the interest of time, I'm gonna move on.
Yeah.
She done pulled me, Yeah, she done gone. We offended her with the promo. I don't know how she feels about it.
Why don't we just say she defended us?
Virtual desktops and labs, I think that goes hand in hand with the Chrome stuff. There's a change coming there. I don't even know that I would go. I just don't know in the labs. I have to go back to that and see.
Gotta try it.
The security innovations, I think that one was the security we'll table that for tomorrow. Google Apps and Storage, this could be a big one. What y'all think of that one? Oh, no way?
I think it's good.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we have been on it quite a bit, and really the only drawback to it that we've ever seen is some of our users get their feathers ruffled when the frequency in which Google changes the interface, yeah, thank you. Because they about get it learned, and then the buttons move around, or the color change, it's like Walmart.
A lot of times, they do it, and then it's new today.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and that's their complaint, it's like, I'd be okay with it if there was like, okay, try this, and then here's the undo button to put it back, until you can get, you can switch it back and forth. But I guess, since it's free, they have the mentality of, who cares? Let them have it. So, there's kind of which I get it, I appreciate it, it's free very much, but that's really the only reason why a lot of our users push back a lot of times, is because they don't feel like they can get comfortable with it, and usually when they change it, it's at the most stressful time of their day, and we get to hear about it sometimes.
I did like how they're doing the calendar right now, because they do give you the option to bounce back and forth.
They did that with mine, that's got the option to get back.
Yeah. I know they haven't done that for everything.
Yeah, there's some things that's.
Yeah.
Was there anything specific? I don't know who submitted it, but, okay.
We've been on it Casey's been on it for a long time, and what continually bites us is, when people leave, and they're they're also on drive docs.
Right.
Who they shared with, who they not shared with, how would be ownership of it. Y'all hear a lot about that? There's a lot. Team drives are gonna help.
Let me ask this question about how you're because this, sorry for all of you who are ready to go. And I can table this for tomorrow if y'all want to think about it overnight. We have a terrible time with not necessarily onboarding employees, cause everybody can't get access until they talk to us, but when people leave, it's like, we don't find out until they're like dead, you know, that they've left, you know. Did y'all have problems with that?
That was the discussion in security, we were talking
Okay.
about accountability issues.
And then the other thing with that is when people change roles, because we have people out there because they've been, I won't say problem employees, but because they've had so many roles within the university, they probably have more access than half the administrators on campus because they've been in every department and nobody tells us to take their access away. They just say, hey, give me more access, give me more access, so they, over time, they acquire.
It's not that they don't tell you to take it away, they don't know.
Right, yeah, I
Tell
agree,
you to
I mean, we
take
just
it
don't
away.
get any word,
Yeah.
so, but we have developed those processes, it's just we don't ever,
Yep.
you know, we'll call HR about it, and they're like, well, they don't tell us either, it just happens. So it's just, so somebody's making these decisions, so how do we make this, how do we fix this problem?
When in doubt, take away the access, we'll just.
Well, that's the thing, so you just never know when it happens. Okay, well, sounds like I struck a nerve, so we may hit on that one tomorrow, so. Hey, y'all, thank you so much for coming today, thank you for being here. If y'all are good for tonight, everybody need anything? Everybody found everything when they came back? Again, apologize for that one. Tomorrow, we'll be downstairs again at 8. Is that right? Be there. I know we got we'll have breakfast. Vendor will be in the room in the morning for a little while, and then I'll get him out, you know, when we start the IT stuff, so, they are outsiders, so, those interlopers, anyway. But y'all have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow. Be careful.
I'm assuming they're paying for some of the stuff that's